As CEO of a $30 million logistics company, I'm often asked the question, how'd you do it? What's your secret to success? And my answer is simple. Everything I know as a CEO I learned as a waitress. Let me explain. I was once a single mom and a waitress. And I would have to go to work at night to make enough money to pay for a babysitter, with my tips, to pay for diapers and milk. And many nights I fell short. So when I was asked to come and speak to all of you and share my journey with you and speak to you of wisdom, I knew exactly what I wanted to talk about. I wanted you to know that it's all going to be okay. Not in a trite, simple way, but in the big picture way. And I wish I could tell you that fear and failure was not going to be part of your life. It definitely is going to be part of your life. But it's what you do with the fear and what you do with the failure that will make you a success. So today we're going to go through my journey. Of course. This is the story of my life. This is how it all works, right? Nothing's ever easy. Thank you. Thank you. So, this is how I view life. We fear up and we fail up in life. That's a new term, I'm sure, for everybody. But this is what I've learned. When you fear up and when you fail up, you've learned the lesson. And our journey in life is filled with life lessons along the way. So when you have a fear, okay, let me share my fear. When I was asked to do this talk, I told everybody, woo, I'm doing a TEDx talk. Whoa, great, everybody's, woo, how's it coming, how's it coming? Great, awesome, perfect. And then 2 weeks ago, I was reminded, I have a terrible fear of public speaking. Have you ever loved something so much and feared it at the same time? I was not going to let my fear of public speaking stop me from doing one of the greatest things that would ever happen in my lifetime. So I faced the fear. I showed up. And showing up is 98% of everything in life. Don't give in to your fears. Don't give in to the failure, because it's part of life. It's part of who we are. And I wish I could tell you different, but that's how it goes. So this is how I view life. I think we all come into this world with our own unique toolbox. Wow, toolbox. That's kind of wild, isn't it? But scientists say that 99.9% of all our DNA is the same. It's only 0.1% that separates us. And I believe it's because of what's in the toolbox. This is my toolbox. And chances are, this is your toolbox too. I think we are all given gifts in life, and we're all given the tools to help us on our journey. What I have found is a lot of my gifts are your gifts, and the tools are the same as well. Let me give you a little bit of background into my life. I was born the fourth of 6 children. My parents were both in the Marine Corps in World War II, devout Catholics, and they came out of the war wanting a huge family. My father, unfortunately, died at a young age, and my mother was left to raise all 6 of us children. Every one of my siblings went to college. I didn't want to go to college. I didn't want to be a teacher. I didn't want to be a nurse. There weren't a lot of options if you were a woman at that time. What I really wanted, I wanted to be married, and I wanted to have a lot of kids. That wasn't really in the mix at that time. So what did I do? I went to beauty school, and I really didn't like it. And I'm sure you can relate to that. We try things, we don't like it, it's okay. It's all right to say, I thought I wanted to do this, but I really don't. So what did I do? I went to be a waitress. And I loved being a waitress. I was a waitress for 10 years. And although when I was being a waitress, I had no idea that I was learning my tools. I was learning the craft of how to deal with people. I hadn't gone to college, but I had really gotten my PhD in the School of Hard Knocks and the School of Life. So let me share some of my tools that I have gone with along the way. Faith. Faith is my power tool to this day. I had to really pull up all the faith I had to just show up today, to make it be that this was going to happen. I had to have faith in myself way back when, 20 years ago, that I was going to be able to be a single mom and a waitress and be able to pay the bills. If you don't have faith, if you don't believe that there is something much bigger, a much higher purpose for your life than what you're living today, chances are you're not happy. You're not really living in what you really want to do. That's what I'm talking about with your gifts. When you're living in your gifts, when you're happy, when I say happy, I mean you're taking a class that you really love. You're working at a job where there's no time. You love doing what you're doing. Chances are you're living in your gifts. I was asked the other day, do gifts come along the way? No, gifts are already there. Everything you need right now is already inside of you. It was given to you the day you were born. My next big trait, tool that I've used, gift, is determination. I was telling you that I really desperately wanted to get out of waitressing after 10 years. Nobody would hire me. Every interview I went on, everywhere I went, people always said the same thing. You're a waitress. You have no education. You are not skilled. But I knew that I had this gift. I could be so much more. I could be great in sales. If somebody would just give me the opportunity, nobody would do it. For 10 years, the door was closed over and over and over again. And then one night, as I was working at the Hyatt, we had been off. I worked at the Hyatt Regency O'Hare in Chicago. And we had been off for 3 months. I had spent 3 months working, you can't even imagine. I was waitressing and babysitting and doing everything I could just to pay the bills. We came back on a Friday night, and wouldn't you believe it, the roof blew off the hotel. I was going to be off of work for another 3-4 months. So on Monday morning, I got up, got dressed. Here, I'm going to do it again. I went to an employment agency, and I said, I want to get in sales, and I know I could do a good job. The answer was the same. You're not qualified. You've been a waitress. You have no education. And I walked out thinking, here we go again. I am going to be stuck doing the same thing forever. But that night she called me, and she said, you know what? This is kind of wild, but I got a call from a trucking company today. And they said they wanted somebody for customer service. Go on the interview, but make sure you tell them you do not want any more than than customer service. Make sure you tell them you do not want sales. I said, okay, great. I went on the interview. The man I met was very nice. And he said, I don't know. You've been a waitress. I don't know if this is going to work or not. And I knew that this was my one opportunity to get out of being a waitress. He said, this job is boring. And I said, I'm into boring. Hire me. He said, all right, I'll hire you under one condition, that you will never, ever, ever want to be more than what I hired you for. And that's a customer service rep. And I thought, wow, okay. All right, get the job. Let them know different once I get it. Sure enough, I got the job. My tenacity stepped in. Every day I'd go in and I'd say to them, you know what? You can't even find your sales reps. They're all in a bar somewhere at 1 in the afternoon. I'm doing the work. Hire me. Put me in sales. And he kept reminding me of the promise that I made. Carolyn, it'll never happen. You will never be put in sales, ever, ever. Well, one day, the big top management came by, and they had come by all the time. They would come into our terminal, and they came by, and they stopped at my desk. And I knew this was my magic moment. And I went in my toolbox, and what could I pull out? I had to pull out courage. I had to pull out enthusiasm. I had to pull out everything, tenacity, determination. And I stood up and I said, could you put me in sales? And they looked at my boss, who was at this point on the floor, and they said, why not? And that was it. I knew that this was my opportunity. And you know what? It worked. I was put in sales, and it was the double door of my life. After a couple years, I went on my own. I started New Age transportation in the dining room of my townhome, and every single year it grew and grew and grew. And then, to be honest, I had twins at 46 years old, and it still grew, and I was on bed rest. But the key was, when the recession hit, I was able to get through the recession. I was able to help and grow my business through all the lessons that I had learned in my lifetime. But the greatest joy, the greatest accomplishment of being where I'm at as a CEO is I was able to start a foundation for children of single parents. Being a single mom, I got the call that I needed to do something. So now what we do, we help children of single parents achieve their dreams of basketball, football, playing a cello, all the things that a single mom cannot afford or a single parent cannot afford for their children. Life has been good to me, but I have to tell you, I'm always dealing with risk. Risk is a part of life, and I encourage all of you to take risks in life, because if you don't, what are you going to do? Be fearless. Step up. Well, and I have to tell you, I did get my children. I did get a house full of children as well, too. I have been blessed beyond measure. There are so many wonderful things that have happened, but I need to share with you the past couple weeks. As I was preparing for the TED Talk, and I had all this fear, last summer, I saw all these programs of do it, build it, buy it, sell it. I thought, I'm gonna take a real estate class. So why not, right? So anyway, I took the class, went to the local college, and I failed. I failed the test. So in January, I decided to take it again. At that same time, my largest customer called on January 6th and said, we're out of here. We are no longer going to do business with you. I was faced with, what am I going to do? Again, in my life, I went back to my toolbox. This is the message today. It doesn't make a difference. Oh, by the way, I did pass the exam, and I am now an Illinois real estate broker. What's the message? Keep trying, keep trying. You can do it, you can make it, and have a beautiful, wonderful life. So I leave you and I ask you, what's in your toolbox? What are the things that you want to do in life that you need to tap into, that you need to say to yourself, I can do it? Your gifts are there, your tools are there, and I encourage you to love and honor, to create and make the world a better place because you're in it. Thank you very much. Thank you.